Please welcome the president of Stony Brook University, Maurie McInnis.
Sometimes there are those eureka moments in life. Moments when you've met someone or experienced something that helps define your dreams and establishes a roadmap for your future. For Jarice German, one of those moments happened when he was in the 8th grade, touring the facilities of Stony Brook University's partner, Brookhaven National Laboratory. A first-generation Dominican-American raised in the Bronx by a single parent, Jarice visited the lab as part of an after-school program aimed at connecting Latino students to pathways in STEM. And for Jarice, visiting this bustling laboratory was a eureka moment. It defined his goals of attending Stony Brook University and working at a place like Brookhaven National Lab. It wasn't an easy journey. The strain of financial hardship and housing insecurity was heavy. Still, he excelled academically and qualified for the Educational Opportunity Program. So, when in 2016 he received his acceptance letter and finally became a Seawolf, it was really a dream attained, a recognition of all his hard work. Jarice was ambitious and proactive, making connections across campus, including at the Career Center and with the Diversity Professional Leadership Network, or DPLN, a program that offers professional mentorship and extensive career support to students from underrepresented and underserved communities. Through DPLN, Jarice returned to Brookhaven National Laboratory, achieving the goal that he had set for himself so many years ago. Jarice graduated this August with a degree in chemical and molecular engineering, and just this past September, he presented his award-winning poster at the 2022 Advanced Energy Conference in New York City. And next, he plans to pursue a PhD in chemical engineering right here at Stony Brook. I am inspired every day by the story of Jarice and students like him who come to this university, seeking a place that welcomes all brilliant young leaders looking to make a difference in the world. His story is the story of Stony Brook, and I am inspired to lead this institution into its exciting next chapter. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for our 2022 State of the University Address. Stony Brook University was born in a time of radical change and progressive spirit. It was the era of the moonshot. It was the era of civil rights and women's liberation, an era of generous federal funding for scientific research. And the faculty, staff, and students who came here in those early days built one of the nation's great research universities, which has thrived for over 60 years, with critical discoveries marking each decade, and which now is tasked with building off that legacy to define something new. The last decade has presented our world with critical challenges. We all feel an urgent need for change. From the global pandemic to systemic racial inequality to climate change, we are being called upon to answer urgent questions. And while these thorny issues might sometimes feel intractable, higher education has a significant role to play in helping society meet these challenges and navigate the road ahead. A road that we, all of us here today, must help pave ourselves. To me, the future of Stony Brook lies in our ability to create a dynamic, engaged environment that welcomes ambition. It lies in our ability to nurture diversity and collaboration, to support excellence across campus, to recognize the powerful impact that we have on Long Island and in New York State. And today, I want to tell you that we are making significant progress on all this and more. Because yes, sometimes it feels like the odds are against us. But Stony Brook is about defying the odds. It's a school that took a muddy potato field and with only a few decades built a top-tier public research institution and hospital. It's a university that began 2020 facing a global pandemic in addition to entrenched budget issues and emerged as a flagship institution, a leader in New York State and more united than ever. Every generation has posed new challenges. And every generation, the people of Stony Brook University have worked together to overcome them. If there were ever a time for universities to work across disciplines to affect change, it is now. If there were ever a time for Stony Brook University to take center stage, this is it. Together, we can determine how far this institution can go. And we are ready. As a newly named flagship of the SUNY system, our reputation across New York and the world is growing rapidly. In fact, Stony Brook just earned its highest ranking from the US News and World Report ever, number 31 for public institutions and number 1 public in New York State. And that is thanks to every single one of you, our Stony Brook community in attendance today, across New York, and even across the globe. I'd like to thank our excellent faculty and staff for their work in making this possible. I know you make it your mission to nurture the dynamic culture that is Stony Brook. Your presence and your dedication here make all the difference in the educational experience we offer. Thank you to our University Senate for their commitment to this institution and their partnership in our shared governance. To our new faculty who are here today, thank you for choosing Stony Brook as the home for your important scholarship and your many future achievements. And thank you to our energetic and determined students setting the pace for a brighter and more just future. I would be remiss if I didn't give a heartfelt thanks to the University Council and my presidential cabinet, trusted advisors and academic leaders dedicated to our mission. Thank you to our more than 200,000 alumni and their families for their enduring commitment. And thank you to our donors who are helping transform the experience for our entire community. Thank you as well to our Stony Brook friends, the dedicated elected officials from Long Island who fight for us every day, here, in Albany, and across the state, because they know how valuable Stony Brook is to all of New York. And finally, I want to thank Governor Kathy Hochul, who from the start of her term has recognized Stony Brook University's value. Thank you, Governor, for your confidence. We look forward to our continued work with New York State in our quest to conduct the groundbreaking research that our world desperately needs, bolster economic development on Long Island, and help guide every student as they prepare for the future. In spring 2020, soon after I had accepted this position, I came across a stirring essay by novelist and critic Arundhati Roy that imagined a world after COVID-19, aptly titled "The Pandemic is a Portal." In it, the author writes, historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our data banks, our dead ideas, our dead rivers, and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. In 2020, the future of Stony Brook may have felt different than it does today. We were in the midst of the pandemic. We were reeling from the effects of long-entrenched budget issues. We were working around the clock to care for our community, teaching online, and our staff were stepping up to the plate every day to keep the complex operations of this university running. And yet, the fact that we have emerged here, that we have walked through the portal as a flagship institution with a renewed commitment to our students' well-being, reinvigorated support for our scholars and research, a stronger and expanded healthcare enterprise, and several major developments on the horizon, speaks to our university's ability to adapt and grow, to imagine a better world, to fight for it. In this exciting time for our institution, we have begun our strategic planning process, not from the top down, but rather with a process that values collaboration and engagement. We have been listening to the values, visions, and goals of our community to envision the next level of institutional excellence. We've heard from our committed staff, our all-star faculty, our stalwart supporters, and of course, our bright and passionate students. It is Stony Brook's time to take center stage. Together, we can determine how far this institution can go. Stony Brook is focused on our students' success. That's how we've grown from that scrappy young university to the top-rated public in New York. And that has been especially evident in our approach, using analytics to improve the timely graduation of our students. Our four-year graduation rates have increased 18 percentage points over 8 years, and our six-year rates improved by 10 points in the same period. In addition to these increases, we have nearly eliminated the equity gaps most universities face when it comes to graduation rates for Black, Latinx, underserved, and Pell-eligible students. And the results of these improvements are concrete. An outstanding $215 million in economic benefits to our students, from savings on tuition and fees to the additional earning capacity that comes from a timely graduation. Yet, there is more work to do. In the coming years, we are committed to increasing our one-year retention rate to 92% and targeting a six-year graduation rate of 85% by 2030. We will never stop challenging ourselves to advocate for our Seawolves. Making sure that each and every one of our students feels engaged, valued, and connected is a critical component of student success. And I have heard that Stony Brook needs to focus on creating a stronger sense of belonging and welcoming. After the last two isolating years of the pandemic, I cannot emphasize enough how important this goal really is. And it will require all of us to transform our culture. It will require all of us to embrace this institution's renewed enthusiasm for learning, teaching, and discovery from day one. On day one of our students' college experience, I want them to see Stony Brook as a place for personal connection and growth. I want them to see it as a place where their dreams and ambitions are filled. I want them to see it as a home to return to celebrate their successes for years to come. We want to make sure that Stony Brook's campus culture promotes connection. We've reimagined our undergraduate colleges, connecting students across disciplines and fields under global topics. Our new membership in the competitive Colonial Athletic Association gives our student athletes even more opportunities to shine and engage. And we've added a host of new activities, events, and opportunities for our new students to form lasting bonds from their very first day at Stony Brook. We're also paying close attention to how pedagogy can transform campus culture. So much of this institution's dynamism comes from our world-class faculty and the promotion of hands-on learning. Now, we're investing in efforts to foster the inclusive pedagogy that will translate our students' classroom learning into real experience. In the College of Engineering and Applied Sciences, our vertically integrated projects program is one stellar example of that. Inaugurated 3 years ago, the VIP program brings together undergraduates, graduate students, and faculty members in multidisciplinary teams to work on real-world projects in research, design, and entrepreneurship. Since its debut, this groundbreaking program has grown from about 50 students to over 500 students in 30 different teams working together on collaborative research. One of these is the Inclusion and Innovation Team, created by Professors Miriam Refelovich and Brooke Ellison, which studies the intersection of inclusivity, disability, and technology, from video games to creating analytics to evaluate the accessibility of public spaces. Ruchita Arvapalli, a biochemistry and economics student on this team, says that the experience both deepened her understanding of accessibility issues and helped define her own goals in addressing health disparities. This innovative pedagogy not only teaches valuable knowledge, but it fundamentally transforms their perspectives on the world. As a public university that serves a diverse community, this is absolutely our responsibility. It is our responsibility to prepare our students to be the leaders of tomorrow with programs that ensure all students can realize their ambitions. Students like Daenerys Ortega Lara, a first-generation college student and first-generation immigrant from Honduras, who through her engagement with Stony Brook's Women's Leadership Council was able to participate in a transformative full-time internship in New York City at the Andy Warhol Foundation for the Visual Arts. Or students like Santos Delced Sorto, who was sent by her mother to the US at the age of 14, with no family and no experience of formal education. Santos had a difficult time catching up academically and would spend much of the next 2 decades learning English, raising a family, and trying to pass her GED. Now, Santos is 35 years old and in her second year pursuing her Bachelor of Social Work. She is inspired by the dedicated social workers, one of whom was a Stony Brook alum, who helped her along this journey. Or students like Carolina Ruiz, whose parents had immigrated from South America. She knew early on that she wanted to go into medicine, but without access to a professional network, she was uncertain how best to find these opportunities. With her active participation in Stony Brook's Future Ready student program, which connects STEM women to industry, she eventually took a position as an immigrant health and cancer disparities service intern, and now has a full-time job as a care coordinator. As we strengthen our focus on promoting excellence through equity and diversity within STEM, we've been proud to announce the partnership between Stony Brook and the Simons Foundation on the Stony Brook Simons STEM Scholars Program. This partnership will create pathways to successful STEM careers for underrepresented students and increase the diversity of students pursuing doctoral degrees in STEM. These scholars will have comprehensive financial support, community building opportunities, dedicated advisors, diverse faculty mentors, summer research, and among other resources, a summer bridge program built to prepare all new Simons STEM scholars for their first years. This program will also offer a residential space for students to live, work, study, and connect. Just think what Stony Brook University can do with this new program, along with our proven research excellence and unique resources like the Alda Center for Communicating Science. With these powerful assets, Stony Brook will have the ability to prepare a new generation of professionals in STEM who will have the experiences not only to thrive, but also to lead in these fields. We are so grateful to our cherished friends, Jim and Marilyn Simons and the Simons Foundation, for continuing our efforts to build a better future and more equitable opportunities in STEM. An inclusive education means not only welcoming a diverse population of passionate students, but also supporting and building out diverse faculty and staff. And this extends beyond STEM to our many dynamic disciplines and departments. In this effort, I'm proud to report that the College of Arts and Sciences IDEA Fellows program, aimed at mentoring diverse scholars in inclusive practices before inviting them to join our tenure track faculty, will be expanding next year to encompass all the West Campus schools. As we welcome the next generation of faculty at Stony Brook, we are committed to diversity across campus and within every school. It is essential to our mission to inspire all of our students to foster their opportunities and show them what's possible. So many of these wonderful student-focused programs that provide practical opportunities, needed resources, and necessary inspiration, rely heavily on our brilliant faculty and cutting-edge research. At Stony Brook, we know that the relationship between excellent scholarship and an engaged student body is reciprocal. So we're investing in support for our scholars and positioning Stony Brook's research to help solve our world's next challenges. Since 2020, through the Strategic Budget Initiative, Project Reach, and more, we have listened to faculty and staff about the ways that this institution can further support their ambitions. We've been identifying opportunities for Stony Brook to take on more projects and collaborate with other industries and institutions. The CHIPS and Science Act and other bipartisan support will increase federal funding akin to the ambitions of the 1960s. Our faculty have been working in tiger teams to prepare for this influx in federal support. With additional funding in key areas across a broad scope of fields, from advanced energy to robotics, data storage to biomedicine, we will position Stony Brook to be ahead of the curve. We've bolstered our seed funding across a wide spectrum of scholarship and research. We've created a new fund for projects in the arts, social sciences, and humanities. And we have set up the Presidential Innovation and Excellence Fund for the work shaped by our Tiger teams. And already, we are seeing the impact of this investment. This year, Stony Brook research expenditures are up more than 20%, and we will continue to set our sights high. Because once again, we're seeing a reinvestment in our nation's research. Once again, NASA is returning to the moon. Once again, our country can unite around common, critical objectives. From climate change to cancer research to opportunities in offshore wind and renewable energy, we're in the era of a second moonshot, and we can once again be part of writing the future. So when an opportunity comes for Stony Brook, we will be ready for it. Because the world needs scholars and artists like Stephanie Dinkins, whose work focuses on emerging technologies as they intersect with ideas of race, aging, gender, and our future histories, who is pushing the boundaries of what art can do and how we understand both ourselves and our connection to one another. The world needs students like PhD candidate Fanny Cornejo, whose research in diversity, sustainability, and ecology for primates and big mammals has huge implications for the survival of critically endangered species. Fanny was just named a finalist for the Emerging Conservationist Award for making strides in saving animals from distinction. The world needs more individuals like Brian Brown, PhD candidate in music, who along with his collaborators developed Touching Sounds, an interactive exhibit that uses tactile spectrograms to make representations of sound accessible to the visually impaired. We need historians like Sarah Lipton, Stony Brook's eminent medievalist, whose incisive scholarship on Jewish-Christian relations, art, and culture builds bridges across geographies, cultures, and time. Sarah will become the 100th president of the Medieval Academy in America in 2024. The world needs marine scientists like Chris Gobler, who successfully led a decade-long research team to restore Shinnecock Bay's hard-shell clam population, which is essential to estuary health. After 40 years of others' failed restoration efforts, Gobler's novel approach increased the population of these clams by a staggering 1,700% this year. As a result, the bay has been recognized internationally by Mission Blue as a hope spot in support of ocean protection, the first in New York to receive this wonderful distinction. We need faculty like Adrienne Wallace from Africana Studies, who presented her policy recommendations to the United Nations and member states at the UN Conference on Africa's Fiscal Space, Fragility, and Conflict. And we need students like Liba Bilal, a PhD candidate who, after earning her bachelor's and master's in Pakistan, is completing her doctoral research at Brookhaven National Laboratory. Liba received a 2022 Association for Women in Science Career Reentry Scholarship for her work on nanotechnology, which has meaningful applications for the clean energy revolution. Indeed, 2022 has been a year of incredible milestones and major firsts for our scholars and researchers. This year, for the first time, 4 Stony Brook junior faculty earned the prestigious Sloan Fellowship. In addition, Stony Brook now has 6 Department of Education Graduate Assistance in Areas of National Need Awards to support graduate students' research, and it's our highest ever at one time. We also just learned that the National Science Foundation will be funding 3 instrumentation proposals for Stony Brook University, marking the first time that all of our proposals submitted to the NSF MRI program have been successful. Stony Brook School of Communication and Journalism was one of only 4 universities nationally to receive an inaugural Solutions Journalism Hub designation this year. And as of 2022, our College of Business is now fully accredited. In addition, our students broke yet another record this year. In 2022, 14 brilliant Seawolves received a Fulbright Fellowship to fund their international research and teaching. Every day, Stony Brook Research and Scholarship is achieving new heights as we continue to support our academic community's bold ideas and ambitious projects. And perhaps there is no more exciting example than Stony Brook's bid to become the anchor institution for the Governor's Island Center for Climate Solutions. If selected, we will develop Governor's Island as a hub for climate change solutions and innovations in New York. Our proposal includes an interactive living lab with green-designed research labs, classrooms, and mitigation technologies. A research and technology accelerator will nurture new ventures dedicated to solving climate change in New York and beyond. And academic programs will prepare students of all ages for different careers in environmental justice and climate change. I am inspired by the collaborative, innovative work put into our proposal and by the world-class partnerships we've formed throughout the process. Because that's what Stony Brook does best: leverage its all-star faculty, students, staff, and scholarship to help our community, to answer the world's questions and provide the solutions that society needs most. It is Stony Brook's time to take center stage. Together, we can determine how far this institution can go. Part of the reason Stony Brook expanded in the 1960s was to meet New York State's need for trained healthcare and medical professionals. Many of our health science schools were launched in the 1970s to support that mission and have since grown to comprise one of the finest holistic healthcare education networks in the country. Now our position as the leading healthcare provider on Long Island has enabled us to reach people in times of need. Our hospital's response to COVID, in which staff worked tirelessly caring for patients, bolstering telemedicine, and collaborating with New York State for testing and vaccination, was an excellent example of that. The effects of an agile, flexible, accessible, and quality medical enterprise are life-changing. Perhaps you remember the story that made national news just last month of Charlie DeFrea, a 4-year-old boy from Suffolk County who underwent a life-saving procedure at Stony Brook University Hospital. This past June, Charlie was rushed to our Level 1 Trauma Center after accidentally falling with a metal straw in his mouth. Upon receiving Charlie, the clinical team quickly determined that the metal straw had pushed through the back of his throat, puncturing a major artery, and the blood supply to his brain was being cut off. It was an incredibly complex and high-risk scenario: how to stop the bleeding, yet still keep blood flowing to his brain and save the child's life. The stakes couldn't have been higher. When Dr. David Fiorella was called in, he first ingeniously used an innovative catheter technique and then ultimately created an entirely new carotid artery out of novel types of self-expanding metal stents, restoring blood flow to the brain, not only saving Charlie's life, but also his future. This procedure took only 45 minutes, and now, just 4 months later, Charlie is well into recovery. He recently started kindergarten as planned and celebrated his 5th birthday. This is the kind of transformative work that physicians and healthcare providers at Stony Brook Medicine are doing every day. Dr. Fiorella is director of Stony Brook's Cerebrovascular Center, and his groundbreaking clinical research and novel, innovative devices are revolutionizing the way we treat the most complex cerebrovascular issues with safer and minimally invasive options for patients. Often, our hospital is the only place on Long Island where people can go for such levels of cutting-edge quality care. And this is how Stony Brook Medicine defines itself: through quality, through innovation, and through impact. As a unique institution with care teams that have access to the most contemporary technology and practices, as a differentiator on Long Island and in New York State. Stony Brook Medicine's reach continues to expand, affecting the lives of so many in our diverse community. It was through the connections provided by Stony Brook's Turkana Basin Institute in Kenya, founded by the late anthropologist Richard Leakey, that 8-year-old Dunia Sibomana Rodriguez found himself traveling from the Congo to New York for a transformative facial reconstructive surgery at Stony Brook Children's Hospital. 2 years prior, Dunia had survived an attack by chimpanzees while playing with his brother and cousin. The only child to survive the attack, Dunia suffered severely disfiguring injuries. Dr. Leakey reached out to Stony Brook surgeon Alexander Dagum, who collaborated with orthodontist Leon Klepner and surgeon Duke Bowie on the first of many necessary reconstructive surgeries. 6 years later, Dunia is thriving in his life in New York, recently becoming a New York State high school wrestling champion. These stories capture the heart of Stony Brook Medicine, the passion to help people thrive. And now, under the leadership of Dr. Hal Paz, we're continuing to expand our impact and build out our clinically integrated network of providers across Suffolk County. By late 2023, we will open the new East Hampton Emergency Department. It is Stony Brook's mission to provide a holistic, comprehensive care team to Long Island, and now we will bring our leading emergency services closer to the residents on the East End. That's how Stony Brook University and Stony Brook Medicine lead, with innovation and passion, with focused research and care, with the head and the heart. And that's exactly the culture I want to see nurtured. The culture that has helped make this university what it is today, and that is undoubtedly essential to cultivate as we lead this institution towards its next auspicious 60 years. Because through our strategic planning process, led by Provost Carl Lejeune, I have been listening to our community across departments and disciplines. I've been listening to the faculty, staff, graduate, and undergraduate students on the Visioning Committee. And here's what I've heard. We want more opportunities for connection, more support for our ambitious research and talent, more ways to affect change in our healthcare system, more programs to promote diversity, inclusion, and equitable education, and more focus on a sense of dynamism, welcoming, and belonging. This is how Stony Brook will emerge, a brighter, more inclusive, more ambitious institution. This is how we will reach a new level of excellence, one that reimagines what's possible for society and that cements this university's role as a first-choice destination. And we've already started. Stony Brook has been given an opportunity to make a bold step toward the future. We are in a community-engaged process of learning from our past, shedding our baggage, and defining what's next. And now, it's only up to us to determine just how high and how far this institution can go. While this is clearly an exciting moment for Stony Brook University, it is also a moment where our world is in critical need of innovation and solutions. At Stony Brook University, where our scholarship crosses over the arts, humanities, social sciences, STEM, and medicine, where our research extends well past this campus and even beyond New York to countries all over the world, where our legacy has been defined by bravery, creativity, and commitment to service, we are working to address the world's pressing issues. We have the talent, we have the knowledge, we have the history, and now with this flagship designation, we have the reach. But most importantly, we have the imperative. The world needs Stony Brook University. We will be the difference that welcomes students like Jarice and helps make his dreams a reality. We will be the difference for that next 8th grader who is looking for a place that will encourage her curiosity and support her ambition. We will be the difference that makes brighter, better leaders for tomorrow. We will be the difference. Our research, our faculty, our bright students, our dedicated staff, our culture of diversity, vibrancy, and academic excellence. And that is why I am grateful to look around Stony Brook and see healthy chatter, debate, laughter, reflection, spontaneity, the kind of learning environment which is necessary for the leaders of the future. But I don't want to call this year a return to normal, because frankly, as a society, we can't afford to go back to where we were. We must go forward, not defined or weighed down by the past, but rather wiser for it, more nimble and agile because of it. At Stony Brook, we can make that choice. We can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. Stony Brook is the university that first dated moon rocks, the university that invented MRI technology that broke new ground in quantum communication, that produced art foundational to the 20th and 21st centuries, that is imagining a future of STEM in which diverse perspectives form the foundation of our excellence, that works across disciplines to build a vibrant future for its entire community, that continues every day to redefine itself with innovation, knowledge, justice, and equity at the core of its mission. And so, if we are indeed standing at a portal, a gateway between one world and the next, it is up to us to walk through it. It is Stony Brook's time to take center stage. Together, we can determine how far this institution can go. This is the state of Stony Brook University, ambitious and ready to fight for the future. Thank you.